I feel like out of all the situations I've covered on the channel, this one absolutely got me the most threats that are telling me that I should game end myself, that my rhetoric is too extreme. So I am feeling an absolute moral duty to go even harder and let you know my exact thoughts. Yes, that is correct. Not just are we not backing down, we are quadrupling down. I don't think you understand the level of 0 Fs that I actually give this entire situation. All right, now, to sum up what's been going on thus far, this is Alex Preddy. He is a traitor to the United States of America that fought against American democracy. When we elected Donald Trump to deport every illegal, he stood in the way of the mandate of the American people as part of an insurrection, in my opinion. And he ended up dying. New achievement, died to defend a pedophile award. Was the shooting justified? I'm already seeing people ask. I don't know, we'll have an investigation. But all I do know is that this traitor would not have been in this position if he didn't try to overthrow the United States of America as part of a violent insurrection against the government. Mandated by the American people, which elected Donald Trump to deport all the illegals, he decided to fight back against democracy, and quite literally, he ended up being the fascist. Sorry, bro, died like a retard. It's sad to be him. This was circulating all over social media. Never forget this photo. This man was murdered by a criminal enterprise currently operating out of the White House. As you can see, he's literally holding a gun in this picture, which is very funny. You will also notice that this picture is not a picture. It's generated by AI. This is not a photo. As you can see, this ICE agent is missing a head. All right. There are tales throughout the galaxy of the headless ICE agent that wanders the streets, killing innocent traitors to the United States of America. But the libtards are so libtarded that they don't even realize that, what's his name? 30,000 likes. We must find him. We must locate him. This is an AI generated image, sir. This is not a real guy. All right. But I'll show you the actual photo because I think it's important for realism purposes. This is the actual photo. All right, it was an entire squad of headless ICE agents that clearly eliminated this traitor to the United States of America. Did this piss off enough people? Are you angry yet? Thanks for the death threats. It just means that my messaging is working. Thank you so much to the libtards that get very offended at my videos. It obviously means I'm reaching the right people. Now, we have a lot to talk about today. Mostly the fact that Governor Tim Walz, Mayor Jacob Frey have both called Donald Trump to lick the boot, apologize drastically, and they're starting to send in their local police force to actually arrest the insurrectionists. The absolute Donald Trump victory is here. Now, I still want mass deportations, don't get me wrong, all right? The left is trying to manipulate this in a way to make it seem like Trump actually folded, but in reality, Trump is getting everything that he wants. All right, I'm still waiting on the mass deportations. Don't get me done yet. All right, this isn't like, listen, I'm not trying to be rude here or anything. Every single person illegal in this country has to go. And if you so desperately want to overthrow democracy and fight against the American government, well, I don't know, man. Maybe Doulahan the ICE agent is going to come for you. I don't think you realize something about me if you're sending me death threats over my coverage here. One, I am incredibly stubborn, and two, I very much love America. So, unfortunately, you are very fucked. Now, for the sake of covering the news accurately, all right, he's been going around. This is the guy that committed suicide by cop. This is the photo that they're literally using of him everywhere on every single media outlet, literally around the country. This is what he actually looked like. I guess they tried to chatify him because they realized that their small army of militant libtard Karens would not feel empathy for an ugly guy or something. I'm not exactly sure if that was the ideology here, but anyway, it seems to track, basically. But now, here's something that I really wanted to show you, because if you're still watching this and you hate me and want me dead for my coverage, I'm really urge you to see something very exciting. The favorability of Border Patrol has increased by +3, ladies and gentlemen. It has increased by +3 ever since the killing of traitor to the United States, Alex Preddy. I know, the video wasn't pretty, I'm not gonna lie, but I do have to say, the American people are with me on this. No matter how much you scream and cry and shriek, ultimately the American people elected Donald Trump to deport the illegal aliens, and if some people want to insurrect against the United States government and so badly, desperately want to be traitors to our nation and die while assaulting an ICE officer holding a gun, that's honestly, it's a skill issue. I feel like so many people are getting manipulated by the detail that maybe technically it wasn't a technically legal self-defense shooting of the guy and therefore all of ICE is a problem. Guys, investigate this case individually. The officer made a split-second decision, all right, quite literally. Whether it was justified or not, let the government decide, let the courts decide, let the Department of Homeland Security decide. The reality is this is a retard that committed suicide by cop, and I feel infinitely worse for every single victim of an illegal alien than this guy. I feel worse for every single victim of a repeat offender that woke judges keep releasing from prisons than this guy. And quite literally, I feel worse for every fetus that was aborted than this guy. But yeah, with that in context, very sad that Alex Preddy was killed by an entire onslaught of headless ICE officers. So, important context, this is what the Border Patrol had to deal with. I covered this in my previous video very briefly, but as you can see, Border Patrol was sitting here completely alone, covered in blood from the way that they were being attacked by rioters, insurrectionists, traitors to the United States of America. Traitors all! And quite literally, these guys are heroes. They're the ones actually fighting for democracy, actually fighting for the American people, actually fighting for the United States of America. They're being brutally battered and tattered on the front lines while every single social media influencer retard is trying to cash in virtue signal points by saying fuck ICE in creative and entertaining ways. So, over the last 2 days, they were getting absolutely blasted in public because the actual Minneapolis Police Department refused to actually arrest violent criminals. Until now. Until they completely caved to the Trumpanor. I'm very excited for today's coverage, I'm not gonna lie. Definitely subscribe because I cover all the things that happens in a very, very exciting way. So this is a retard who decided to commit suicide by a cop. Another one. She's not dead. She obviously was a failed suicide attempt. As you can see, this is a fat retard, Karen, liberal, running at police officers. She picked up a flashbang, all right, that they threw at them, all right, and she picked it up and ran at them to try to throw it back, all right? So this is her running to try to throw back the grenade that they threw at her. And this is her, as you can see, she's holding the flashbang.
Medic.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately for her, it exploded in her
Oh
head.
my god.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the lamest shits I've ever seen in my entire life. She tried to grab a flashbang and went bang. Yeah, so the libtard revolution is going very, very well. They're calling for civil war and shit, but quite literally, these are your best soldiers. There she is. And yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh my god.
It's like, oh my god! So yeah, so an ICE agent got a finger bitten off, and then God decided with his divine comedy that yes, and now a libtard will lose a finger in exchange. Equivalent exchange! All things must be. An ICE agent got a finger bitten off, well, a libtard Karen is gonna grab a flashbang, and it'll go bang. So yeah, horrible, tragic stuff. Obviously, they're sharing photos like this. Oh my god, look what ICE agents are doing. Holy fuck, you people are retarded. Like, I'm telling you, man, this is unbelievable. Like, we are actually fighting against disabled Karens in society. Get bitch some ice immediately. Anyway, so in other exciting news, before we even get into like the deep dive, ICE has officially deported the captain. That's right. So Barkhad Abdi, who played the Somali pirate in Captain Phillips, was deported. Because this dude, ironically, despite being an actor in a movie, literally was a criminal. So that's quite literally absolute cinema, all right? But now, let's get into the meat and potatoes, all right? So Donald Trump decided to make this tweet, and all hell broke loose. Donald Trump said, I am sending Tom Homan, the Wall, to Minnesota tonight. He has not been involved in that area, but knows and likes many of the people there. Tom is tough but fair, and will report directly to me. Separately, a major investigation is going on in respect to the massive $20 billion plus welfare fraud that has taken place in Minnesota, and it is at least partially responsible for the violent organized protests going on in the streets. Agreed. Additionally, the DOJ and Congress are looking at Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who left Somalia with nothing and is now reportedly worth more than $44 million. Time will tell. Thank you for your attention to this matter. They're checking into Ilhan Omar to try to get her either imprisoned or deported in regards to gigantic fraud. More looking into the fraud, and even scarier than all that, Tom the Wall Homan is actually going into Minneapolis, Minnesota. And oh my, oh boy, I have never seen meltdowns quite like people not wanting Tom Homan to show up. Now, let's not forget who Tom Homan is. Barack Obama's ICE chief, Tom Homan, received an award for 920,000 removals. Donald Trump's ICE chief was called a Nazi. It's the same person. It's Tom Homan. 2012, Obama deported 409,000 people. In 2025, Trump deported 290,000 people. Difference is brainwashing. The difference is the libtards realize, holy shit, we could literally just replace American society with an underclass of retards. Why should we pander to the American society that actually wants things and expects of us if we could replace them with 67 IQ motherfucking retards that eat bananas with rice? So here you have the same guy doing the same job in the same way. He was a hero under Obama. He's a Nazi under Trump. Fascinating, isn't it? The media is losing their mind because Tom Homan is incredibly effective. Now, this is what Tom Homan had to say.
6% decline. 96% less people are coming. How many women aren't being raped? How many children
That's right.
are dying making that
Straight
game?
facts.
How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked into this country every day?
That's
How
right.
many known suspected terrorists aren't just walking across that border? President Trump and this administration is saving thousands of lives every month. Hard stop. That's just a stone cold fact.
That's right,
I
baby.
want to be a part of this. I work with Steve Miller every day. Steve Miller is one of the most brilliant people I've met in my entire life. President.
Oh my God! So everyone's terrified because obviously Stephen Miller is like their boogeyman in the administration. Like Stephen Miller straight up called this retard that committed suicide by cop an assassin, which I think is definitely a twist. That's definitely hyperbolic potentially, but I mean I would go as far as calling him an insurrectionist and a traitor. I think that's valid. So anyway, I guess I shouldn't say anything. So anyway, everyone's losing their mind over the fact that Tom Homan is coming. Tom Homan views deporting illegal aliens, in my opinion, his view of it is, this is the mandate of God. Get these rapists out of my country. Every illegal alien gone is God knows how many women saved. Like, so this dude is that's why we call him the Wall on this channel. So Caroline Leavitt decided to do a press briefing and absolutely slaughtered the press.
This is a Washington Post headline from 9 years ago, 2016. Meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. And I would remind everyone in this room that it was former President Barack Hussein Obama who awarded a medal to Mr. Homan. So he's obviously very qualified. He has the full trust.
Yeah, there's no way the libtards could be upset at Tom Homan, right? I mean, literally, the libtards have been glazing this guy for 10 years.
In faith of the president. He will continue to have these meetings in the hopes that ICE and local law enforcement can cooperate and work together.
Spoilers! They work together.
Immigration enforcement, as we've seen in
Total victory.
every other state across the country.
Yeah, so total and absolute victory is literally happening in real time. So let me introduce you to Trump's demands. So these were Trump's demands to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the greater retard area.
In Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities.
You know, the thing that he asked for literally right in the beginning, that they said, no, actually we would prefer our tax dollars to fund illegal alien rapists in prisons instead of turn them over to you.
Along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation.
Criminal histories. That's massive because Minnesota is one of those woke states that keeps releasing the infinite retards back into the public wildlife.
Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police.
Another massive dub, because this is an in perpetuity deal if it actually works, which we will see.
And thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes.
Oh my, so you can't tell your police to stand down. Like I showed you in my previous video, how literally they told their police to stand down. You had police cars making U-turns away from violent riots. Let's see how that keeps working. Spoilers! Spoilers! Trump wins on all 3 of these.
Especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota.
That's right, because you would be doing our job for us.
ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities
there it is.
Once and for all.
W.
American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding
Americans
citizens only, not for
That's right.
dangerous illegal
Straight
alien
facts.
criminals who broke
No lies
license
detected.
laws and do not belong here. We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning.
Yeah, so anyway, I have to show you what's been going on with their call because it's honestly pretty incredible stuff. So, but before we get into that, all right, I have to show you the reaction to Tom Homan. Tom Homan is the Voldemort for these guys because they literally have nothing on this guy. All right, so Tom Homan was a hero to the Democrats until literally Trump became in office. They started calling him a Nazi immediately. So they're all losing their mind. So Governor Kathy Hochul, this is the governor of New York, sending Tom Homan to Minneapolis won't undo the harm already done by this administration. What? You mean all the retards committing suicide by cop? Federal agents must end the occupation of our cities, return to the border. What does this mean, the occupation of our cities? Our cities are literally being invaded by infinite retards, and you people are not doing anything about it. We elected the president to do exactly this, and he's doing it. All these people are traitors to America, as far as I'm concerned. Anti-democracy traitors. A full investigation into the killings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy must begin immediately, led by the local authorities. Someone asked me how do I feel like ICE is doing all in all? And I mean, quite literally, I think they're doing pretty good. No more chaos, end the deployments. So yeah, so she's obviously having a absolute meltdown. She's losing her mind, freaking out. That Tom Homan is going to Minnesota. In my opinion, she's scared that Tom Homan is going to be going to New York next. In fact, I need to show you some pretty interesting situations involving New York. Secretary Noem offered assistance to New York ahead of the impending snowstorm. I shared that the fastest way to help is for ICE to back off so people feel safe, accessing warming centers, shelters, hospitals, house of worship. Basically, Secretary Noem offered millions of dollars of assistance to New York amid the freezing cold weather. She said no, because she's a stubborn bitch. Instead, just get ICE to leave. Well, Mamdani officially forces homeless into homeless shelters after 7 freeze to death. So, in my opinion, personally, their blood is on your hands. The federal government wanted to give you guys millions and millions of dollars to help the people of New York City, and you decided, because you were so stubborn, you refused to actually do that. You left these people out to literally die by ice, all right, literal ice, because you were too stubborn. 7 people dead in New York, and you refuse to take federal funding. Absolute insanity.
Part of Code Blue, and is that happening? I wonder if you can give me a sense, or anyone of, how many times has that happened in this storm where, someone has been told, no, you can't stay here, you have to come in?
Yeah, so anyway, they're all crying about it. I can't believe these 7 people would die. Unbelievable. Now, Mayor Zoran Mamdani is constantly talking about how ICE murdered Renee Good in broad daylight, which, again, this is slander because there is no evidence that it was murder. It was self-defense. Definitely self-defense.
I think just to first take a moment about Minneapolis, it is horrific what we have seen there.
Sir, 7 New Yorkers just died because of the cold.
And I think that there are too many Americans who are being asked to not believe their own eyes.
Yeah, I do believe my own eyes. We're having an invasion in our country, and we have retard insurrectionist traitors that are literally committing suicide by cop. All right, so far 4 people were shot by ICE in Minneapolis. 1 attacked ICE with a car, a 2nd attacked ICE with a car, a 3rd attacked ICE with a shovel, and the 4th attacked ICE while holding a gun. Quite literally, suicide by cop.
Believe their own ears, not believe their own realities. And people want to hear the truth. They want to see the truth. And that's why I described that as a murder, because there's no other way to watch that video and come to a different conclusion.
Yeah, well, maybe not in Uganda, where you came from, but in the United States of America, we have this thing called a trial and due process. You ever heard of due process? Yeah, this guy's unbelievable. This guy's shrieking about due process for illegal aliens, where the whole due process is really just find out that they're illegal and then deport them. But here you have an ICE agent get hit by a car and fire a bullet in obvious self-defense. And no, that's obviously murder.
And we know that the fear that so many are living with in Minneapolis, it's a fear that New Yorkers are also living with, a fear of being terrorized. And
Sir, 7 New Yorkers just died of the cold, and you refuse to take federal funding. Just saying. All right. In fact, something else happened in New York that I thought is important to mention. I've been briefed on an officer-involved shooting in Queens that occurred earlier today. The NYPD was responding to a 911 call where they encountered an individual wielding a knife. The NYPD is assessing the situation. We're committed to keeping New Yorkers informed as we learn more. I'm grateful to first responders, blah, blah, blah. So you're telling me that an NYPD officer murdered a guy wielding a knife? Are you telling me that that's what happened, sir? Oh, but that's okay because that's what happened over there. All right, that's fine. No, all right, that's cool. But when an ICE officer, acts in self-defense when the enemy has a gun, the traitor of the United States has a gun or a car that's trying to run them over, no, that's murder. That's murder. But when the NYPD does it and we don't have great footage of it, oh, well, that's obviously, the guy was wielding a knife. Of course, he was wielding a knife. If they didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all. People like this, in my opinion, want to conquer America, and quite literally, they're doing a pretty good job about it. This guy's the mayor of New York City. This is a radical Islamist communist that's the mayor of New York City, we need to do more. If you're not radicalized yet, I'm going to help. All right, I'm here to help, all right? You might think that I'm not here to help. All right, any of my haters still watching 20 minutes into the video, you might think I'm not here to help, but I am. I am a simple man trying to radicalize as many of you as possible. Quite literally, because leftist ideology does not believe in, you know, facts or the truth or reality, all right? They want men to chop their penises off and transform magically into women. Like, they go through a whole magical girl sequence and they become Sailor Moon. All right, half the country literally does not believe in basic reality. My radicalization process just makes you recognize that, yes, reality is in fact a thing. There are two genders. There are people that are part of cultures that are worse than other cultures, and some cultures just kind of want to kill us. I know that the media is framing these protests as like legal and nice and First Amendment right, but quite literally they are insurrecting against the United States government. And unfortunately, I didn't see a single mainstream media platform actually describe it with what it actually is. We are witnessing in real time the Democrats being like, you elected a president I don't like, and he's trying to enforce laws I don't like, so therefore we are going to fuck the country raw and manipulate all of our NPC bots into thinking that we're justified when we commit treason. I said this in my previous video, but I feel like it's important to reiterate. Do you know what was going through this officer's head? Well, I mean, in this picture he doesn't have a head because this is AI. But you know what was going through his head when he shot Alex Preddy? What was going through his head was probably, I really want to go home alive to my family tonight. You know what was going through Alex Preddy's head at this very moment? It was a bullet, because he's retarded. And he so desperately wanted to commit suicide by cop while insurrecting against the United States government. Nux, aren't you victim blaming? Isn't this the same as saying that the woman got raped because she was wearing, like, skimpy clothing? You want to know my honest answer to that? My honest answer to that is, the question is bad faith because I said we need an investigation in the cop, all right, obviously. But even more than that, if a woman decides to wear skimpy clothing and go into a bar in Egypt and she gets sexually assaulted by an Egyptian in Egypt, then while I still think that the Egyptian rapist is a bad guy, I'm going to call the woman retarded for doing it. 99.3% of women in Egypt claim to have been sexually assaulted. I'm not going to sit here and make believe this woman's a genius. It's like, I traveled to the third world and they groped me. Well, yeah, obviously they groped you. They think grope is fine there. Oh my God, I went to Somalia and I got raped. Yeah, obviously that's not very nice from the Somalians, but rape was legal in Somalia 10 years ago. Your libtard ideology put you there. Quite literally, leftists just don't believe in agency at all. God gave us all free will and the ability to have consequences for our decisions. The consequence to this guy's decision to dress up like some militia guy, go strapped with a gun and multiple magazines to fight with law enforcement, obstruct justice, assault them, and then struggle on the ground and reach for his firearm after he was already subdued and resist arrest. Well, quite literally, to find out for that fuck around is super obvious. And yeah, if some libtard Karen wants to prove how lovely Somali society is and she goes to Somalia and gets raped, quite literally, I'm not going to have sympathy for the retard. Not going to justify it, but my sympathy? I reserve that for people who deserve it. Anyway, let's talk about someone who doesn't deserve my sympathy. Donald Trump tweeted, I just had a very good telephone conversation with Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis. Lots of progress is being made. Tom Homan will be meeting with him tomorrow. In order to continue the discussion, thank you for your attention to this matter. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Massive bending of the knee from Mayor Frey. She was talking such a big game. He was calling ICE the Gestapo. And Tim Walz as well. So Tim Walz also had a conversation with Donald Trump. And honestly, a lot of people are being like, oh my God, Trump is backpedaling. Trump is getting literally everything he fucking wants. And he's doing it in a better way than you could possibly imagine. Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him, and that we were looking for any and all criminals that they have in their possession. The governor very respectfully understood that. Oh, God, dude, this guy was going out. He was talking about bullying Donald Trump, and now he's like, he's all respectful. He's licking the boot of authority. It was on his neck, and now he's licking it. And I will be speaking to him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan is going to Minnesota, I'm sure. And so am I. We have such tremendous success in Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, and New Orleans, Louisiana. Virtually every other place we have touched. And even in Minnesota, crime is way down. Both Governor Walz and I want to make it better. President Donald J. Trump. So this is a tweet of Tim Walz calling Donald Trump, bending the knee, giving in to every single demand after fomenting an insurrection. And now you're probably wondering, why is he doing it now? Why is this happening right now? Why wouldn't this be happening at a later date? Well, I will tell you that in just a minute. Spoilers, it has to do with the Signal chat that was leaked and the fact that he was directly tied to this insurrection. And we're calling it an insurrection because that's what this is, quite literally. So anyway, immediately after these calls go out, unfortunately for the libtards, terrible news for libtards everywhere. Libtards are having the worst day ever. As you can see, the riot police arrive as protesters throw snowballs. That's it, baby. The actual Minnesota police finally shows up and puts the rioters away. No more rioting for you. The Minnesota police has been activated after so long of these twats sitting on their thumbs and rotating in silence, literally doing nothing, waiting for orders because the mayor and the governor told them they had to stand down. They're not allowed to do anything. All of a sudden, they have been activated. Wow! Law enforcement is working with ICE. My oh me oh my! My guy didn't just lick the boot, he deep-throated the boot. This is unbelievable. And dude, the ICE protesters, the anti-ICE protesters are losing their minds. They're like, what? Why is the police against us? I don't know, bro. Your guy ratted you all out. You people were always just meat shields to him. He never cared about you. You were always his little jihadists, all right? His little Democrat jihad, his libtards committing suicide by cop. And he doesn't need you anymore. And quite literally, you could keep coping, all right? He lost. He completely succumbed to whatever we asked of him because, honestly, I think he was afraid of getting arrested for treason. So here's the riot police actually showing up. Dude, this is what we call colossal and absolute victory. I don't know if any of you are aware. Dude, this is amazing. There are just so many videos of the riot police finally doing their job and protecting the ICE.
You are now under arrest. Please sit down and wait for instruction.
W! They're arresting the protesters. Can we understand the level of betrayal that happened over here? I feel like it's super important to understand the level of betrayal. So you have Tim Walz. Tim Walz is sitting in his gated mansion, yelling and screaming at his libtard cronies, all right, the NPC freaks and retards. Use your bodies as a weapon. You have to fight back. I'm too busy beating up my retarded son, so I'm not able to actually get involved. But all of you guys need to go out there and fight against ICE. Protect our neighbors and our fellow Minnesotans from ICE. We need to go out there and fight. All right, so he riles up all these retards. The retards go out. They do exactly what he told them to do. Some of them get killed because they're extra retarded. And a lot of them get arrested by his own police. Keep crying, libtards. Oh my god, what a terrible day. Oh my god. Can you even imagine? Your governor tells you to go riot. You go riot, then your governor gets the police to arrest you. Absolute beautiful levels of fafo going on. Oh my god. Dude, this is absolute cinema. I've never seen anything better. This is the clones. This is, in their mind, the clones turning on the Jedi. Alright, so you got Trump, he's the evil Chancellor Palpatine or whatever. Alright, he's the authoritarian imperialist. And then you got this whole massive war going on. They all view themselves as Jedi fighting against ICE stormtroopers. And here, all the clones that they thought were on their side turned around and shot them in the back. Honestly, cinema. Who could have written this? Now, the funniest part is, right, so this is the riot police actually showing up to arrest the libtard rioter protesters. And a lot did get arrested, by the way. And here you have the ICE agents. They're all there. They're drinking beer. They're sitting in the windows. They're watching the retards fight each other. Dude, seriously, unironically, God bless America. These ICE agents are so happy. Look at this, bro. So the protesters are freaking out. They're getting beat down by riot police now. All right, and here you have an ICE agent in the window. Literally mooning them, bro. Yeah! Oh my god. Oh my god. Satisfaction beyond the pale. To quote Hosea the prophet, you reap the wind, you sow the whirlwind. Oh my god. I've watched so many people's coverage and no one actually covers this appropriately. That's why we have to do the right thing, alright? I don't care about the death threats and all that shit. Y'all can keep doing whatever you want. Yes, of course I am compiling them and sending them to the FBI, obviously. But dude, I sometimes wonder why I get death threats and so many people that I know don't, and I feel like it's my glee, all right? It's my absolute righteous glee when I laugh at traitors getting absolutely fucked. I don't know. You should definitely subscribe or something. Anyway, Governor Tim Walz decided to make a tweet, and this is incredible, dude. I had a productive call with President Trump earlier today. I told him we need impartial investigations of the Minneapolis shooting involving a federal agent, and we need to reduce the number of federal agents in Minnesota. All right, you told him that. That's very nice. The president agreed to look into reducing the number of federal agents in Minnesota. Yeah, because now Tim Walz's police is actually working with the federal government. He's not telling you that part out loud. And to talk to DHS about ensuring the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is able to conduct an independent investigation as would ordinarily be the case. Which maybe, who knows? He said maybe it'll happen. Don't be distracted. They stole $19 billion, dude. This is absolute cinema. So this is Tim Walz trying to make believe he actually has control over the situation, when in reality, he absolutely caved on literally everything. It's the most unbelievable thing ever. In fact, Tim Walz is having such a bad day, the Holocaust Museum of the United States called him out. And it was for this clip.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota. And there's one person who can end this now.
Yeah, so it wasn't a children's story. It was a story of a 15-year-old girl that was a Jewish girl that was murdered by Nazis during the Holocaust, as well as her entire family, except for her dad. And her dad published her diary after she was already murdered by the Nazis, and that is Anne Frank's diary. So he is comparing, let's try to understand, law enforcement doing their job, mandated by the American people, deporting illegal aliens. He's comparing that to the Nazis systematically rounding up and murdering millions of Jews. All right, just to understand, Anne Frank was not an illegal alien. Anne Frank was legal, but she was Jewish, so they killed her. ICE is going after illegal invaders of our country, all right? Also, if Anne Frank was offered $2,600 and a free plane ticket out of Auschwitz, she would have taken it, which is the offer being offered to all the illegal aliens. So this comparison is, in my opinion, just done to call Trump Hitler and to call ICE agents Nazis and to justify his army of suicidal Karens to literally kamikaze the shit out of these people, and because he wants them dead. In my opinion, he's covering up his ass because he's involved in $19 billion of fraud, as well as being part of a signal chat that was directing an insurrection against the United States government. He's absolutely terrified, so he activated his militia of gay jihadists to literally suicide by cop. Anyway, pretty wild analogy for him to make, comparing illegal aliens into our country being deported peacefully to, a girl that was exterminated by Nazis as well as her entire family. And you know who else thought so? The Holocaust Museum. Oh my God. See, if a right-wing guy gets called out by the Holocaust Museum, at least some people will be like, all right, the Holocaust was a long time ago, we don't actually give a shit. However, the left, they can't, because left is all about acknowledging the fact that the trauma of our past is actually a very, very real present trauma in our everyday lives. The left will never be able to do anything because the left hates white people. And white people did the Holocaust, and white people had slaves, so therefore white people bad. So this is part of the fabric of what it is to be a leftist. It's to hate yourself and want to bring in an under society to replace you. So the Holocaust Museum said Anne Frank was targeted and murdered solely because she was Jewish. Leaders making false equivalencies to her experience for political purposes is never acceptable, despite tensions in Minneapolis exploiting the Holocaust as offensive, especially as anti-Semitism surges. Which is true. Anti-Semitism is actually surging these days. In fact, there was a girl who just got her head split open by an illegal alien. A Jewish girl got her head split open by an illegal alien in New York. Again, it's two issues at the same time. Wow, you mean to tell me there's an overlap between importing tons of people that hate Jews and Jews getting hurt? That's crazy. Who could have thunk? So anyway, Tim Walz is really getting it on all sides here. It's pretty difficult, honestly. He has blood on his hands. He's sending out his suicide Karens to lose their limbs and shit. And the Holocaust Museum called him out. So he's having a really bad day. He had to cave to Trump. Now, what a coincidence that Tim Walz called President Trump to work together on the riots after the Signalgate chats were exposed. Interesting how that works, isn't it? Remember when Tim Walz, appointee, or this guy, murdered the only lawmaker who tried to stop the fraud in Minnesota? Interesting. I don't know. Do you think any of this has anything to do with each other? I'm not making any allegations here, all right? I don't want to get sued by Tampon Tim, all right? I don't want another one of Tim's appointees to show up at my house, if you know what I'm saying, but I'm just asking questions here. Bro managed to get himself tied to billions of dollars of fraud and also an insurrectionist group against the government and also an assassin that murdered a Democratic lawmaker that was against Minneapolis immigration fraud. These are a lot of coincidences. The last time I heard this many coincidences, it was when someone told me that Islam doesn't get along with Hindus in India. They don't get along with Christians in Europe. They don't get along with Jews in Israel. They don't get along with Chinese in China. They don't get along with Japanese in Japan. That's another group of coincidences because it's obviously not Muslims. They call themselves the religion of peace, for crying out loud. So this is literally all coincidences. So I'm somebody that notices coincidences, but I'm going to let you in the comment section decide on the pattern between the coincidences, because if I decide on the pattern, I get deplatformed. All right. So listen, you let me know if you come up with anything. Anyway, for those of you that are unaware, Tim Walz recently got a huge gift. All right, he got a huge gift given to him because it's not all bad. All right, it's not all bad. You think that Tim Walz is just all bad? Everyone's turning on him. All right, the Holocaust museum is against him. All right, the government's against him. His own people are against him now that he activated the police against them. All right, you probably think this dude's getting it on all ends, but that's not true. There is one group of people that is still through all this supporting Tim Walz. The Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshippers thanks Governor Tim Walz for not standing in the way of spreading Satanism in the state capitol building. Satan has a special place for you.
The Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshippers thanks Governor Tim Walz for not standing in the way of spreading Satanism in the state capitol building. Satan has a special place for you. All right,
This is literally in the Democratic in the Capitol building in Minnesota. All right, are we on the same page? All right, so don't worry, Tim. Don't worry, Tim. Don't worry. It's all good, bro. It's all good. You still got the Satanists on your side. It's not all over yet. It's not all over. Anyway, in the Signal group chat that we're talking about, they illegally captured 5,000 plates. Some of the admins are directly connected to Tim Walz. For those of you unaware, this is a crime. They're gathering the plates of different vehicles, the type of car, what they confirm as ICE, what they suspect as ICE. It's an entire database of doxing federal agents. And quite literally, there are people in this group that are tied to Tim Walz. She is one of the admins in the group chat. So Tim Walz is tied by his hands, by his legs, like a little piggy that he is. And quite literally, he had to call Trump and beg the big orange man to please, I'll give you everything you want. Oh my, it is not looking good for him at all. Now, this is the Signal chat with the names of all the people that were involved in this gigantic insurrection, because that's what it was, that's what we'll call it. And Kash Patel of the FBI says that they are actually looking into it.
The ongoing investigation involving the shooting last week is being led by DHS, and of course we're supporting our interagency partners there. The Signal chat group is information we collect from the public because we repeatedly request the public provide us with information they have. And what we are going to do is what we have been doing across the country under President Trump's leadership to deliver this historic success from year to year. It's not a trust me situation. It's a look at the last year. It's a look at what we did when the FBI opened up their task force in the state of Virginia under President Trump and our great partners at DOJ and the Attorney General. We wiped out crime in the state, and we're going to do that in every single city. We've done it for the whole year. And on this type of specific investigation, what you do, generally speaking, is you send out subpoenas, you collect data, you put people in grand juries, and you find out who broke the law. And if anyone broke the law and incited violence. Remember, that's the key here.
Inciting violence. They're all doing this, by the way.
We are not going after people and infringing on their freedom of speech to peacefully protest. We are definitely not going after people and their Second Amendment right to bear arms. Only if you incite violence and or threaten to do harm to law enforcement officials and break the law in any other way does it become an investigatory matter. So this Signal chat is something that we, the FBI, are looking at and spearheading.
All right, so this is happening. All right, it's actually happening. Everyone keeps saying nothing happens. I think everyone's attention span was destroyed by TikTok because you might not remember this. It sometimes takes weeks, it sometimes takes months, but we end up getting a lot of these motherfuckers in jail. This is a literal fact, and we have seen it throughout the country. Murders have decreased throughout the country by 20% over the last year. All right, so I don't expect anything tomorrow, but I do expect to see some pretty high-profile people actually arrested, and this is very exciting. I'm not gonna lie. In fact, as an example, this is a case of it literally happening. This just happened. The FBI arrested a woman who reportedly used personal information stolen from the federal vehicle in Minneapolis to threaten to kill an ICE officer. She threatened violence, and she's in jail.
Arrest warrants.
All right, this is her. They broke into an ICE agent car. They stole paperwork.
Oh shit, bro! You not arrested warrant.
And she was arrested, and it just happened. So, you know, we make our jokes, we make our memes that nothing ever happens, but, you know, sometimes it takes some time. Sometimes the story isn't a massive headline, but it does happen. And quite literally, I hope it happens a lot. Half the Signal chat now are on the run. Tim Walz threw them all under the bus. Dude, it's amazing. So this is one of the guys that invaded the Signal chat. Oh my God, bro. How's Lieutenant Governor Penny Flanagan not in cuffs? Honestly, it's because the Republican Party is fucking slow as balls. They need to Delta Force these assholes. They need to put them in jail and let them wait for their trial in jail. In my opinion, this is an insurrection against the government, and it cannot be let stand. I hate the pussyfooting that the government is doing with all this. The GOP, quite literally, needs to get together and fucking arrest all these absolute traitors and give them a trial date. And let them wait in prison until their trial, just like the left did to everybody else. All right, when the left comes into power, they'll go after every January 6th protester, or the actual legal observers. All right, and the GOP's like, no, actually, we have to. No, dude, stop it, bro. Stop the pussyfooting. Fucking crush the insurrection. Trump is definitely making progress with getting the state police to help ICE and stuff. So obviously, I do believe this insurrection will die with a whimper instead of with a roar. However, I would like to see some powerful people go behind bars immediately. I expect it to happen, and so far, I've been correct about almost all of my predictions. So I'm expecting it to happen, all right? It better happen. Don't prove me wrong. But yeah, obviously, the people in the Signal chat are losing their mind because Tim Walz literally ratted them all out to the United States government. Pretty awesome. Anyway, this is a Minnesota attorney. Legal observers have gotten their global access for travel at airports revoked. Now, this is incredible. Honestly incredible. This means that we are already investigating this shit. This means that the legal observers, this is what they call themselves, the peaceful protesters that are part of the Signal chat, which is insurrecting the United States government, they're losing their actual global access. They are not going to be able to leave the country. A lot of them are trying to flee to Cuba. I already showed in my previous video how a lot of them were in these discussions, how they're trying to flee the country and stuff like that. My guys, it's not working. We are on your tail. All right? You woke too close to the sun, my guys. Oh my God, we are squashing the rebellion, one gay little movement at a time. Let's see what everyone's favorite non-biased, non-partisan lawyer has to say about this.
Those were his last acts, was trying to help the woman that was pushed down by the man in the green sweatshirt.
The man in the green sweatshirt was allowed to push the woman down. You know, she was blocking the road and she was literally obstructing justice. So anyway.
Who I think.
So what you're saying is he was a criminal that was trying to help another criminal. Cool.
Essentially was the first agent who shot him.
So yeah, anyway, that's what everyone's favorite non-biased, non-partisan lawyer had to say about this. Literally crying like a little weak bitch. He had no tears for any of the actual victims of unbelievable amounts of atrocities that took place. No tears for the 300,000 kids sex trafficked over the border over Biden administration. No tears for any of the actual victims of the illegal aliens. No tears for the actual victims of the repeat offenders that keep getting released from prisons. But tears for the traitor of America that committed suicide by cop. This is how they gaslight you. Weak fucking men, honestly. This absolute soy cuck. Anyway, it's really not going well for anyone involved. So Ilhan Omar, Ilhan Omar is also trying her absolute best to survive. ICE will leave Minnesota if you hand over your voter rolls. Tells you everything you need to know. All right, so this is what she had to say. This was never about immigration or fraud. It was about rigging elections. Rigging elections? Wait, whoa. What's going on here, Ilhan Omar? Is your 67 IQ brain malfunctioning, ma'am? Are you not having your bananas with enough rice? What is going on? What do you mean? So apparently she got a threat saying ICE will leave Minnesota if you hand over your voter rolls. This is, I'm not sure you're aware, maybe you're retarded. This is the government investigating Minnesota for voter fraud. This isn't trying to rig elections at all. And unfortunately, this tweet might have been one of the biggest mistakes of her entire career. This blunder was astronomical. So anyway, JD Vance called her out. We really want illegal aliens to vote in elections, and we will riot to ensure it is so. Quite literally, that is what she said. I mean, that is what she said. There's no other way to interpret it. She's like, we're not going to hand over proof that our illegals aren't voting. What? So you're telling me that you're causing an entire insurrection against the United States government so you can steal elections? That's pretty interesting. Wow, interesting. Nice of you to admit that. Now, the pretty crazy expose for Ilhan Omar keeps getting worse, all right? The Virginia Democrats, they ended up introducing a bill to prohibit immigration enforcement within 40 feet of a polling place. Why is there a bill that Democrats are pushing that prohibits immigration enforcement to be within voting places? Is it because illegal aliens are illegally voting and stealing elections? And for those of you unaware, this is true. They are trying to do this. They are trying to prohibit any person from performing any act for the purpose and furtherance and enforcement of federal immigration within 40 feet of a building that is used as a polling place. Why? Literally, why would you have this a law unless it's quite literally designed to let illegal aliens vote and steal elections? Why would you push this law for any reason other than voter fraud? This is something I've saying from the very beginning. The reason why the Democrats are bringing in infinite illegals is because they vote for Democrats illegally, and then they steal elections. It's almost like it's what we've been saying the entire time. It's unbelievable. You really don't want anyone digging around in those voter rolls, huh? So this tweet that Ilhan Omar made, everyone thought that this would be like some sort of banger. It's like, they're not doing this for immigration. They're doing this to rig elections because they want to see evidence that we're not rigging elections. This is the 67 IQ bananas and rice tier take. Honestly, Ilhan Omar, you are an absolute lobotomite. And the reason why it is confirmed that the United States is actually investigating Ilhan Omar for fraud is, well, there are a lot of things that, let's just say, don't add up. Benny Johnson just exposed something horrifying.
I just investigated Ilhan Omar's official financial disclosures, and what I found was so dark and criminal. I don't know how she gets out of this without going to jail. Have a look at this.
She will.
Here's Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure from the Congressional Record, year 2023.
So it's making $1,000 a year, all right? It's making $1,000 a year, and it went up from $15,000 to $5 million in value in 1 year. That's interesting.
And now Ilhan Omar's making enough to pay rent. So this,
you man, and I'm not even exaggerating. Civilian journalists are straight up saving America.
I like wine. And find out.
This is crazy, by the way. Holy shit, she's going to jail. All right, maybe the actual department government isn't willing to do anything, but the IRS is gonna fucking kill her. It's her third husband, no relation, because she's a brother fucker.
How did my net get this relationship? Well, the current.
So you're telling me that the Attorney General, the one that refuses to look into the Somali fraud, worked with this guy who allegedly is part of multi-million-dollar winery fraud?
Somali fraud.
That's
so
pretty
this
weird.
Company was sued for being a fraudulent company. And the New York Post says the exact same thing, as the House is now probing the mystery of Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing wealth.
Yeah, she's going to jail.
They said that Ilhan Omar went from being one of the poorest members of Congress, worth negative $65,000, to being one of the richest, worth $30 million. Here's a rare photo of one of their wines that they allegedly made, The Devil's Lie. But the entire company is
The Devil's Lie.
It's not a lie to Ilhan Omar.
Oh my god. Yo, could the coalition of Democratic Satanists please give her an award? Please?
To list an enormous amount of her income and an enormous amount of her net worth.
And she's making millions off this fake company. That's pretty weird.
To this fake winery. This winery is not worth $5 million. The winery doesn't even exist. It's fake. It's fraudulent. They need to investigate this.
So how is she so rich? Where did she get all of her money? Where did her money come from? That's pretty weird. Now, for anyone that wants some interesting divine retribution or anything, again, this is very sad. What I'm about to show you is very sad. I want to preface. I don't want any death threats from people thinking that I'm laughing at the misfortune of others. God forbid. Of course not. All right, let's talk about some traitors to America and how God decided that they needed some divine punishment. All right, so this is a private jet belonging to prominent anti-ICE, anti-Trump lawyers, and it crashed in Maine. 8 passengers are dead. The lawyers spent tens of millions of dollars fighting Republicans in Texas. So let's understand what happened. All right, so this was a private plane full of anti-ICE, anti-Trump people, and they were literally killed by ICE. So yeah, I'm really sorry for the families of the victims, I would say. Not that they're really victims. It's a tragedy that happened that these people are dead, but anyway, This is a little bit terrifying. You know, here before Candace Owens blames Israel for something like this. But anyway, so it seems like the FBI is actually cooking and is actually getting shit done.
Ash, you've been doing, and I saw some announcements just this morning, some major arrests of some of the left-wing terrorists who've been attacking law enforcement, attacking federal agents, stealing rifles. I believe it was an FBI rifle or a DOJ rifle in this January 14th attack. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've always said that, you know, we are going to defend absolutely your right to peacefully protest under the First Amendment. And we're also always going to uphold your right to bear arms in the Second Amendment. That's never changed. We're going to equally protect all of those. The only thing we're not going to do is allow any of those amendments to be violated when you pursue a course of action of violence against law enforcement. Wow. It's that simple. That position has never changed.
That is pretty simple.
So on January 14th, you referenced a mob literally rioted and destroyed federal police vehicles. Of course, we jumped into action. We caught and arrested 4 individuals responsible.
Not enough. Get the rest of the mob. But anyway, it's better than nothing.
Breaking those vehicles apart and dismantling them completely. But I have an update for you. In that vehicle was not just firearms, which thankfully we recovered, but was information about law enforcement, federal agents, and their personal information. Individuals used that personal information on the ground to issue threats of life against not only FBI agents, but their wives and their children. So just last night...
That's the left. By the way, I hope you're aware of what's... I totally believe this. I've been getting unbelievable amounts of death threats over the last couple of days because apparently when I say that a traitor commits suicide by cop, it offends people that also hate the United States of America. I mean, obviously I'm triggering the right people, but yeah, so I definitely believe that what ICE is going through is unbelievable.
The FBI arrested one of the individuals responsible for making those threats to federal law enforcement. And we're going to have more arrests on that same matter today and tomorrow.
Good. Yes. Do things, people. Please do things. I'm saying, bro, do it. All right. Don't forget. This is Travis Wolf. He lost his fight because an illegal alien ran him over with a car. He was 12 years old. This is someone I feel really bad for. All right. Never forget. This is Jocelyn Nungary. She was assaulted and strangled to death in Texas by 2 illegal aliens. She was 12 years old. This murder was done by 2 illegal immigrants from Venezuela, and I wasn't even aware of it. In fact, I had to confirm it. There are so many. You never even hear these. You never even hear the Pope talk about it. All right, you never hear anyone talk about this. No one cares. You never hear the leftist politicians that are talking about Anne Frank hiding in her attic. You know who's more similar to Anne Frank than the illegal aliens that invaded our country that are getting deported? The 12-year-old girls that are hiding in their attic from rapists that are coming to strangle and murder them that invaded their country. Quite literally, this is the most unbelievable perversion of justice I've ever seen in my entire life. Unbelievable. All right. There is an immigrant issue. All right. Let me just listen to this story and tell me there isn't an issue with immigration.
At a corner store just up the street, the stabbing happened at the SS Quick Stop grocery store.
This just happened. All right. This just happened. Someone got stabbed here in this grocery store.
Deputies say the victim told officers that the suspect asked what religion he was, and when he said he was a Christian, the suspect reportedly stabbed him and his dog. Both.
Wow. Who could have done this? Listen, I don't want to be controversial or anything, but who would ask what religion they are and then stab them and their dog? Could we try to picture who this could possibly be?
Were taken to hospitals in serious...
Spoilers, it was not a Hindu and it was not a Jew.
Condition, and deputies say the dog went into emergency surgery. Deputies were searching for the suspect then for more than 2 hours after he ran from the stabbing scene. He was spotted by deputies around 8:40 a.m. who made contact with the suspect in a house's backyard. Armed with multiple knives, officers say the suspect was resisting arrest and made movements toward deputies. He was then shot by multiple deputies. Police say he was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Now the Pierce County Force Investigation Team is handling the scene.
Wow, it's so interesting how they failed to mention that the guy was a Muslim. It's so weird that they failed to mention that this was a Muslim immigrant that did this. I can't believe it. I'm personally shocked and surprised. I would have thought that for sure they would have mentioned this, but no, obviously they don't want to talk about that. The guy that asked, what's your religion? The guy said Christian, and then he stabbed him and his dog. Wow, who could this have possibly been? I'm personally shocked and surprised. I can't believe it. This is another mystery to me, all right? Now, I personally don't want this to be America, all right? So this is someone going to Walmart.
Hey.
Do you have hand warmers?
Hand warmers.
Hand
Warmers?
All right, so she says she doesn't know what that is.
I don't know. Hand stash. Chicken?
Chicken, she asks. Is that what you meant when you said hand warmers?
Hand warmers.
Chicken?
Chicken, maybe?
Hand warmers.
All right, so maybe she'll know what that is. All right, she answered in foreign language, probably that's what she said.
Hand warmers.
All right, so she called over the professional.
Hand warmers.
Hand warmers. Just points aimlessly. Hand warmers are close to the pharmacy, bro.
Close to what?
Pharmacy.
Right.
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy.
Oh, okay.
That's what she said, yeah. Okay. All right.
Crayons. You guys have crayons?
Do you have crayons?
Crayons? Crayons.
Bro, they don't all point. They all point. They don't understand what he's saying. They don't speak the language. They just point. This is radicalizing me, man. Pharmacy area. Everything's in the pharmacy area.
Crayons.
All right, she's pulling out Google Translate. Oh. Yeah, anyway, we get the idea, all right? We get the idea, okay? We understand. If he would have asked for bananas and rice, they would have known immediately. All right, so in case you're curious of a little bit of actual information, I thought you probably would be. So these are the top 9 non-cooperating counties with ICE. And here are all the other counties, all right? So this is 9 counties where there were 110 incidences of violence with ICE. And here there were another 3,134 counties that are cooperating with ICE. It seems like 63% of all the violent confrontations with ICE happens in 9 counties. These aren't even the 9 counties with the most illegal aliens. Texas, Arizona, Florida have way more. Suspiciously enough, the mayors of the sanctuary cities is where this keeps happening. It happens in Chicago and LA and Minneapolis and New York City. These are the top 4 places where there's actually violence against ICE officers. It's almost like the violence with ICE has to do with the fact that the governments in specific cities are teaching their kamikaze Karens to insurrect against the government. And it's almost like the ICE agents aren't inherently violent. It's almost like the retards are the violent ones, and they end up getting killed in self-defense a lot. Now, of course, you have a concerted effort of idiots on the internet. This is Adam. He calls himself right-wing, but he is actually a Pakistani Muslim from England who says that ICE is using Palantir to track American citizens. Palantir is used by Israel. So again, there's this entire concerted effort by retards blaming Israel. It's actually Israel's fault that ICE is deporting illegal aliens. And to that, I have to say one very simple thing. God bless Israel, I guess. Thanks, Israel. Keep cooking. please keep deporting illegal aliens from America. Man, I'm really happy. It's like this is what the Jews are all about. The Jews are fighting to do mass immigration, and the Jews are also fighting to do mass deportations. A lot of you don't know this. You're in the middle of a Jew proxy war between the base Jews and the woke Jews. I don't know if you're aware, but that's basically where we're at. If you ask Pakistani, British people, and basic third worlders in the United States too. All right, Hassan Piker is also blaming ICE on Israel. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty great. I love that everyone's doing this. It's pretty awesome. Anywho, just final news. I have to say that the United States was condemned recently, and I thought it was important. The Islamic Republic of Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson condemned the U.S. federal agents' handling of the Minneapolis protests. Ismail Baghdahi claims law enforcement in Minnesota are in violation of human rights. So, Iran, who just now massacred between 20 and 40,000 protesters with live fire in the streets, is condemning ICE for trying to deport illegal aliens, and because a couple of retards committed suicide by cop. So anyway, this is the coverage. We got a lot of leftoids committing suicide by cop out there. You got cops finally turning on the leftoids. Tim Walz is getting obliterated on all sides. Everyone absolutely bent the knee to Trump. And definitely be aware. Be aware of the Doulahan ICE agents that just show up and kill random Americans in the middle of the night. People told me we have to stop the fear-mongering because the leftist media is obviously fear-mongering people. They're telling everyone that they're Anne Frank and they're hiding from Nazis. I disagree. If they're that retarded, they have to be aware. All right, every time they go to sleep, I want them to see Doulahan the ICE agent and know that they could be next. But now, a lot of YouTubers told me that when I wrap up videos, I always have to ask my audience to comment section in the comment section below. So definitely check if you're subscribed, and I'll leave you with this question, very on topic to the current situation. Women, should they have the right to vote? Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.